Hello everybody, it's been so long. I'm here to make a video for you and I can't even remember the last time I made a video. I think it was like 3 months ago. Life has been so crazy for me as I am trying to move my family across the country, and our house hasn't sold yet. It's been on the market for a long time. Thanks, interest rates, right? So I've been struggling with some other stuff going on in my life and haven't had time to crochet, which is ironic because I really believe that crocheting is how I handle crazy stuff in my life, and so it feels good to get back to it. So here I am. I got inspired. Most of my yarn is packed right now and it's in storage. So I went and bought new yarn. Yeah, don't tell my husband. No, I went and bought new yarn and I got inspired, and I had 4 projects that I plan to do for you guys. I've had a lot of interest in this mini granny stitch that I've been doing planned pooling. So this might be my last planned pooling video for a while. I feel like we've been doing it for a long time and I love it. It's my go-to thing to do when I just need to keep my hands busy and do something fun that takes just a little bit of concentration, but not a lot. And of course I've been on this quest to try and find all the different yarn that you can pool with. And I think that what I found out is that you can pool with any color variegated yarn as long as it is machine dyed. The only one that I haven't been able to figure out is the camouflage one, the red heart camouflage one, and that's just because I haven't done the long version yet. So I'm going to do a little bit more research into that, because I just don't think you can machine dye yarn and have it not have a repeating pattern of some kind. So I just need to figure it out. But as long as it has a repeating pattern and it's probably machine dyed, then you're good to go. If it's hand dyed, of course, it's not going to probably have a perfect repeating pattern. So, but what I did do is I got into doing the granny stitch instead of the moss stitch. I also did, while I was in Tennessee with my daughter, I did some single crochet, which is just like the moss stitch, it's just single crochet, right? So, and I'll show you a picture here of one of the projects I did with that. So this is the mini granny stitch, and the reason that I chose to do this is, one, I like the bigger blocks of color, but also if I did just a regular moss stitch, this would have been like really, it's like an awkward size. So these are just my little kitchen claws that I do just for fun to keep my hands busy. And so this is just like a little hot pad / washcloth. This is the full size, almost like a towel size, that we just have them hanging on our sink all the time. It's just kind of like my little finger dryer, or I use it to dry dishes, or I use it to grab a pot or whatever. So they're just kind of handy for everything. And I like having different colors for different seasons. I've already done so many videos about kitchen claws, and it doesn't really matter what size they are. But there is one thing I like about them is I like them either to be long and skinny like this, so it's like a towel, or I like them to be short and squatty like this, so that it's like a trivet or a hot pad or something you can grab stuff with or whatever, right? So if I did this yarn and I followed the entire pattern in the moss stitch, it just makes it just this awkward size that goes like from here to here, and it's not just like it's not wide enough, or it's not wide enough to be the length of it. And if you do double, it's too long or whatever. So so I decided to try and do this granny stitch. I did it with a regular granny stitch, which it's 3 double crochets. It was just too short, so I decided to try this, and it worked out perfectly. So I gave the 4 choices of my 4 upcoming projects on my Facebook group at Ginell's Quarantine Crochet, and I'm super excited about the fall ones, right? Because I was like, yay, I'm gonna do fall projects. It's July right now, if anybody's wondering, and everybody on my group was like, no, we need more help with planned pooling. So granny stitch is where it's at for this video. The next video we're going to do something completely different. I'm going to go completely off the planned pooling track, and then after that we're going to get back into mosaic crochet. We're going to do some fun fall stuff. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with this. These are the ones that I did just like on the plane, and my husband and I went on a little road trip to the beach to go on a bike ride, and I just kind of was trying to reconnect with my crocheting, my crojo, as you would call it, because it'd been so long since I had crocheted anything. So so that was fun. I got it back going again in my mind. I'm ready to go. So let's go ahead and get started on this. This is just regular sugar and cream, nothing special. This is the super size. This one's called Chocolate Ombre. I usually use the recommended hook size. For when it comes to sugar and cream cotton, I've found that just an H hook is perfect, which is a 5mm. Just works well with all of them. You're going to be adjusting your tension all the way through it anyway. And then I just grabbed some other cotton that I'm going to use as the outside edge for it, just to kind of finish it off. So let's go ahead and pull from the center so it's not rolling all over the place, if I can manage to do that. I've been pretty lucky with my center pulls lately. Ta-da! Yay. That never happens, by the way. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to find the pattern. That is the first thing you want to do. So the pattern, I'm going to start with the green. It's like a greenish tan color. And then there's brown. It's a nice long brown, right? Then it goes back to green and then white. Long white, and then green, brown, green, white. Wow, that's super easy, right? So what you do is you just kind of want to pick what you want the ends to be. And it's not going to matter the first chain, just like when you're doing moss stitch, it's not going to matter what you start off with. What's going to matter is where you start the row after the chain. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to start it here. And because I kind of already know the width of what I want this to be, just to kind of save myself from having so much left over at the end, I'm going to go ahead and just chain something close to that width, which I'll show you here in just a second. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you can kind of decide. Here, let's pick the width of one of these so we make sure that we're pretty close. And you can even count the chains on it too if you want to. So that's, I mean, if you want to give yourself a little more space, you can. Really what's most important is starting it where you want to start the color. With what I found with these, because I want to do them sort of narrower, instead of doing the entire color change, like if I was doing this entire color change, I would probably find the center color, right, which would be the brown or white, either way, and then just kind of make sure that they're kind of close to the same length. And they are, right? Pretty close. With a little adjusting, you can fix that, right? So you kind of decide what color you want the end to, or the beginning to be. So in this case, even though there's a center like this, that you could put the brown on the side and you could go all the way up to the brown, that would probably make it wider than I want it to be. I'm just going to go from the white to the white, or from the white to the end of the tan. And then when it starts white again, I'll start a new row. That's the plan. We'll see if it looks good, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and chain this out to where just before the white starts, and then we're going to start the actual row with the color that we want to start with. Okay, so you're going to skip 2 chains and go into the 3rd chain, okay? Then you're going to do a half double crochet in that chain. Okay, and then do another half double crochet in the same chain. Okay, then you're going to skip 1, go into the next one, and do 2 half double crochets in that chain. So essentially, when we come back, what you're going to do is just like the moss stitch, right? We're going to go in between. We just made the stitch thicker than the moss stitch and a little bit taller, right? So you have like a slightly bigger block of color. When you go in between over here, remember on the moss stitch, when you're doing planned pooling, we're coming back this direction. You do the little chain stitch after the moss stitch. That's where you're going to put your last cluster in, or your last stitch in when you're doing moss stitch. So this extra chain right here is that space. So when we go all the way to the end and then we turn around and come back, we're gonna do our final cluster in this space right here. So just keep that in mind. So go all the way down to where you finish out the color scheme on this particular yarn. And I think if I do this right, I hate to put that much pressure on myself, but if I do this right, it's gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clusters. Because I can say that because just having done a lot of planned pooling with sugar and cream, it's, I mean, their color changes are right around the same space. This one right here was not sugar and cream. This was, I forget, Big Twist or something like that. And let's see how many it has. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this one had one less, it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so this one had one less, and it was a different brand. And you'll figure it out as you're working with the color to what looks best. So we'll see how mine turns out when we get down there. So skip one and then do your 2 half double crochets in here. It's just like a regular granny stitch. It's just shorter and skinnier. Instead of the 3 double crochets, or 3 double crochets, you're doing 2 half doubles. And you do kind of want to like note where the color change happens. So we had 4 clusters of white. If this color change happens and it's halfway through the cluster, you can totally do that. I did that on mine. And then you're just going to continue that same vibe as you're doing each row, right? Or if you kind of plan ahead a little bit, you can make them nice clean changes. So you have 4 clean white clusters, slight white right there, but mostly this is that light green color. Oh, so this one, there's really no way to do it. Like this is gonna be half brown, half green, for sure. So just know that that's gonna happen. And then you may have, I thought I said it was a long brown, so this one should be long. I'm literally filming on the world's tiniest table in this teeny tiny apartment that my husband and I are sharing while we're waiting for our house to be sold. So it's not the most comfortable situation, but I'm gonna make it work. Luckily, I didn't pack away all my filming stuff. Okay, so how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. And we're starting on the white. So we're going to start over on the colors, and this is where we're going to move up. Don't worry about this tail, because we can literally undo this to be where you want it to be at the end when we're all done. It's really simple to undo as I struggle. I'm just going to find where it starts. Seem really easy to undo. You can just undo it all the way back, and then when you get to where you want it to be, you just pull it like a knot right there at the side. So that one's really easy to do. That was a life changer for me, because how many times have I counted out my chain and then I was off by 1 and I had to go back and undo? What a pain, right? So it's nice to be able to just keep moving forward. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to chain up 1. We're going to turn, and you're going to do your 2 half double crochets in the space in between these 2 clusters, just like a regular granny stitch, only with the shorter stitches. And then this right here, this space, that's where the cluster, the end cluster is going to go, is in that space when we come back on the next row. And then you just kind of want to time them out so that they're about the same as what you were doing on the other side. It's gonna be off by a little because you want it to like move back and forth, right? So kind of keep that in mind. So we have a half color right here. Okay, so I might have to adjust my tension because that's changing color pretty fast. We'll see. We'll see when we get there what it's gonna look like. Because remember, the first 2 rows don't really matter that much other than just like laying it out, just like in moss stitch. It's that 3rd row that's gonna determine where we're at and how close we are to where we wanna be. Okay, so we're in that little space after the last cluster. That's when we're gonna put our final cluster in, and then chain 1, and then we're gonna jump over here. Okay, so what we need, we have white, right? We've already done 1. This should offset us. What you're trying to do is you're just trying to offset by 1, but it may turn out that we're offset by 2 because I got a little bit loose tension. And if that's the case, we'll go back and fix it. Oh my gosh, is that perfect? So you guys, that doesn't happen all the time. That's just come from me. That just comes from me doing it a lot, which I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been a little bit obsessed with planned pooling. So that just, I can kind of feel how it's gonna go when I look at it, and this is gonna turn out to be perfect. What you're trying to do is you're trying to do 1 stitch sooner, and then how do I say this? You're trying to match this stitch right here. So you're gonna change 1 block sooner than you did on the row 2 rows down, if that makes sense. But it looks like it's 1 row down because it's the one directly below it. So hopefully that makes sense. So this one's green, this one's green. Okay, so this one is half green, half brown. So this one should be half green, half brown. And if it's not, we have to adjust a little bit. I found though with the, so we're gonna have to adjust it a little bit because look, that's a lot. I have found with the mini granny that it's a lot easier to keep it where it's supposed to be than it is with like moss stitch or single crochet. So I don't do hardly any adjusting. Let's continue on though, because it looks like this is gonna be a full brown. Let's make this just a little bit, I'm gonna make the tension just a little bit bigger over here, just so that we're a little closer to our goal. Obviously, machine dyed yarn is not gonna be perfect. It's more perfect, obviously, than hand dyed yarn, but it's not gonna be perfect all the time, so you're gonna always have to be kind of adjusting your tension. So I just made it looser so we can travel across that yarn a little bit faster. We're still gonna be in the green. We should have been switching to brown, but let's see what happens. Can always undo it if it doesn't work out. I'm doing all of this kind of loosely. Okay, so this row should be pure green, and I'm not quite there, right? Almost, but not quite. So what I would probably do, go back and loosen it up just a little bit. See how it's kind of tight here on the end because I wasn't sure what was gonna happen? I can go in and make that a little bit looser. So I'm gonna do that, and then what it'll do is it'll have that green and that green be offset the perfect amount. So, and that's the 3rd row is where all the adjusting for the most part happens. And then after that, it's just little tiny adjustments here and there. Okay, so we're gonna loosen this up a little bit, just kind of hold it a little bit higher. This is probably my new favorite planned pooling stitch because it's just, it goes so fast. and it's so easy to adjust. There we go. Okay, full green. Okay, this won't be half green, half brown just because the way the yarn is dyed, but it's close, it's getting there, right? It's not too far off, so then we should be right on with the next stitches. Okay, so this next stitch should be pretty much full green. Close enough, don't you think? It's pretty close. Okay, so that one was full green, not half green, half white, so we may have a little, and we can go back and adjust. Sometimes it's just like, it's hard to get it just right at first, but once you get in there, it ends up working itself out. Oops. Okay, let's try and see where we're at. Okay, so we want this to be white and the next one to be part white, part green. Nope, there's an awful lot of white in there. Oh, no, that's right, it's the one after that that. There we go. Okay, so this one matches that one, this one matches that one, this one needs to be part white and part green, and it looks like it's gonna be perfect. There you go. Okay, so that one has half brown. It should be 2 greens. So we'll see. I might have to tighten it up a little. Pretty close. Ooh, this one has a lot of brown. Okay, so let's see. I can loosen this one up a little too. All right, this does not match, so what's gonna happen? Let's find out. Might just have a really long section of brown. Okay, so sometimes what happens too is it'll stack like that, and you can actually do that on purpose. I did one, here I'll show you a picture. I did one where I stacked the middle of it on purpose, so it looked kind of like a chain link fence or something like that. The picture's right here for you. You can do that on purpose, but that's not what our goal is here. So I'm gonna backtrack. See how these ones are shorter and these ones are taller? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make these ones, I was trying to make this one match this one, and that's why I think we just have a very large section of brown. So we're gonna work our way through it, see if we can fix it. It's like a little drama unfolding. So far, so good. Okay, this is where it goes wrong. And I might just leave it and see what happens if I continue on. Okay, so it looks like we're back on track. Let's keep going. Yeah, pretty close. Sometimes that bleed between two colors, you kind of have to ignore it because the bleed's going to be shorter on sometimes and longer on other times. Just kind of pay attention to what the two main or three main colors are, and not the in-between colors. Yeah, I think we're back on track for the most part. So I'm going to keep going, and then I'll show you what the pattern looks like when it gets longer. And then I think I'm just going to show you how, that's the same width, so that's what I was checking. Show you how to do the edging, and then we'll be done. It's like the shortest video I've done in forever. And hopefully that helped you figure out how to do that. I would assume that doing a full granny stitch is probably very similar. Doing single crochet, very similar. Triple crochet, yep. Double crochet, yep. You can plan pull with almost any stitch, I think, as long as it's like a simple repeated stitch, not like a, you know, I haven't tried to do it yet with like anything like a popcorn or fan stitch. I assume you could probably do it with popcorn stitch. No, because you have to do a row in between that's like just plain. So I have done in the round, sort of my version of in the round, when I made this little pot holder for my daughter that was like the two-sided kind, because I was seeing if I can do it in the round. And you can, it's not the same as doing an actual in the round. You actually go, let's like pretend like this is in the round. You actually go to the end and you finish your stitch, and then you connect it, and then you turn and go back. So that is that version of in the round. If you do a regular in the round on planned pooling, you actually end up with like a stripe that goes, it's just continued, which is super cool. It looks like a candy cane stripe kind of. But if you do the back and forth, that's what gives you the argyle look on there. So I encourage you to try both because they're super fun. I mean, that's how you learn, is just by trying it. So okay, I'm going to continue on. I'll show you what this pattern looks like when I get a little bit like maybe here, and then I'll finish it, and then I'll show you how to do the popcorn edge on it. Okay guys, so here's how it looks so far. It's coming together pretty well. It is a little bit more challenging than some of the other yarns that I worked with as far as the placement of the colors goes, just because I think if I were to do it all the way out like a two section, you would notice that one section of the brown is longer than another section, kind of like we saw earlier. But what this shows is that even if the colors aren't exactly even, you can still just adjust your tension and make it pool correctly. I do have this one little weird color right there, which is just the bleed that goes from green to cream. Not a big fan of it, but there's another one up here too, and over there. So we're just gonna ignore it and keep going. I promise if I use this as a kitchen cloth, it's going to get stained anyway, especially the white. So anyway, so I'm gonna continue on. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the length, and I'm just gonna match it to the length of my previous ones. I'll finish the length, and then I'll show you how to finish it and how to edge it with the little kind of, it's like my own like made up little popcorn stitch on the end there, and then we'll be done. Okay, so it's all done. I've got it about the same length as the other one, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and end it off here, and I think I already did. Let's see. I got ahead of myself and I had to like pull a bunch of it out because I was listening to a podcast and just got in a zone, and it was a lot longer than it was supposed to be. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. And then we're just going to weave our ends in. Now, when you're weaving your ends in with a granny stitch, as well as with moss stitch, because basically, I mean, if you think about it, granny stitch is the same thing as a moss stitch. It just has 2 or 3 stitches instead of 1. It's almost the exact same stitch. So you're just going to kind of leap back and forth on this a little bit. So I'm going to do the back and forth method. That's my favorite method for sewing in your ends, because then it doesn't come out. But if you go straight across, you're going to have your yarn show. For me, it's the same color yarn. It's not that big of a deal, but once you get over here, it will be a big deal because you'll see it in between there. It'll just look weird. So what I do is I skip down here and grab this row and then go back up so that I'm not putting yarn into that like open space that you can see. You only have to do a few stitches. Doesn't have to be a lot. Don't pull it too tight or else you'll have a gathering at the end there. And then grab any piece of yarn that is sort of outside of that row and then go back the way you came. Just that one back and forth keeps the yarn from coming undone. So it doesn't matter how much you use it, wear it, whatever, you're not going to have those funky little tails that just sort of appear after a couple washings, and then you just trim it. Super easy. So I'm going to do the other side. Oh, I'm going to show you how to take this apart. I think I already did, but this is so great. I love that you can just make the chain as long as you want, and then you can just take it apart as needed. That way, anytime you're starting any project and it says start with 227 chains, and you're like, oh, I lost count. I have to go back and recount it. Oh my gosh, I missed it by 1. Now I have to go back and do it again. Just do 300 or whatever, 280 chains or whatever. And you can always go back and undo it. You'll have extra yarn, but and you'll get used to, especially when it comes to color pooling, you'll get used to kind of the length of yarn that you want to work with when you're doing the chain. And that's what, you'll go with instead of the numbers. Okay. So I might have went 1 too far. So let me just go in here. Not this. And then we're going to go ahead and weave that end in as well. So this one is a brown color. So if I went straight across, you could kind of go down into here if you wanted to as well. You don't have to go up into the other level. It's the same color as this. That's why I said that. But if it's not the same color, it's going to show. But you could go down in there. And then since you've already gone through one that's outside of these stitches, then you can just turn around and go back. Just don't go through that one because you need that one to hold it from coming back out. Just go through the next one. So jump over it. Go back down into here, just like you did before. And then go back out. You can kind of decide what looks best as you're going, but like you can't even see that that's there, and it's totally stable. It's not coming out at all. Okay, so the next thing is our cute little border. And I was gonna do the border with this color, but as you can see, it's not the right color brown, and that, I like for things to match. So it wouldn't matter. I mean, you could do a contrasting color. You could do like, what's a good color for this? Like, I don't know, yellow or something crazy, like that doesn't match at all. But I decided that I'm gonna use white. And I know anybody who's watched me do this before, I'm like, don't make your kitchen towels with white because they're just gonna get stained. Yeah, except that I hate this yarn. So, respect to Lion Brand. Everybody who knows me knows that I love Lion Brand yarn, and I buy their yarn all the time. But this one is 51% cotton and 49% rayon, which gives it kind of a sheen. And the cotton works with the other cotton that we used for this, right? Because you don't ever want to use anything but cotton when you're doing like kitchen towels and stuff like that, because that's what's absorbent. The half rayon in here was supposed to be half bamboo. And it's because it's called kobu, right? Cotton bamboo, except it's not. It's cotton and rayon, so from bamboo. But it's it just feels different. I worked with a different yarn in my last video. I worked with a half cotton, half bamboo yarn that I loved. It's shiny and pretty and everything, but the thing with this one is that it splits so bad. I just used it on a project that I am going to do next. Actually, the next video is going to be teaching how to add lace to the edge of just like a t-shirt or a tank top or whatever. And here's a picture of what I did. And I used this yarn to do it, and I hated it the entire time I was doing it, but it's so pretty. I was like, I'm just determined to use it, and there's so much of it. So I'm going to use it for this. It has enough cotton in it. The edges don't have to be super absorbent, but it has enough cotton in it that it'll be fine. And maybe you'll see what I'm talking about when I say that it splits like crazy. So whenever I do my edging, I always don't start like on a corner or in the middle of like the main parts, because it just makes it too noticeable if there is like a transition. I try to make it so there's not a transition, but you know, you just never know how it's gonna go, right? So the gaps, you're working with the gaps here, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a bunch, like a little, almost like a popcorn stitch right here, and then we're going to jump over and do it in each one of these gaps. The only funky thing is that it's going to be on the corners. You're going to have to do something kind of made up. I kind of make things up as I go along. I encourage everybody to do the same in life and also in crochet, because that's how you learn, right? So this is a standing single crochet where you just go ahead and do in a single crochet, you wouldn't actually wrap like you would a double crochet, but when you do a standing single, you always start with one wrap, and then you pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both of these. But you kind of have to hold on to this, otherwise the whole thing will come apart. So then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to do 3, I'm trying to remember how I did it. I think it's 2 double crochets together. So it's going to be 1, you're going to do the first half, okay, but don't finish it. And then do another and do the first half, and then finish it, and then do another single crochet. So each one of these little popcorns is made up of a single crochet, 2 double crochets together. So what would you call that? There's a term for that. Where you're it's like you're decreasing, like you increase and then you decrease at the end, and then you're going to do single crochet on the end. So it's going to create this tiny little almost like a little bubble or popcorn on there. This yarn is thinner than this yarn, so if you wanted to, you could do 3 in the middle. I think I will, just to kind of make it a little puffier. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to do 3 double crochets together. So you're going to wrap it once like a double crochet, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2, but leave it on the hook. Do it again. Leave it on the hook. 1 more. So that's 3 double crochets that you've done halfway, and then you're going to finish it off. Just go through all of it and then finish it with a single crochet in the same stitch. And that'll give you just a cute little, like a little bubble on the end there, right? Then you're going to jump over to the next gap, not in the stitch at all, just over to the next gap. The great thing about granny stitch is that you can definitely tell where the block is, so you can just go around it, right? So you're going to go single crochet, just like we did before. Oops, see, it's really hard to work with. And then you're gonna do your 3 doubles together. 1, 2, 3, and then you finish them off, pull them all together, and then finish it with a single crochet like that, and then you just do that all the way around. I'm going to keep going. Well, let's see. Let's do some quick ones. We're really close to the corner. I'll show you how I'm going to handle the corner, but I'm going to handle the corner differently on each. Oops. I'm talking and crocheting at the same time. So you're going to do a single crochet and then your 3 doubles together. I'm going to handle the corners differently on the diagonal corners because of the way that, I mean, we'll see how it works out with this one, but for the last couple, the way the number of rows turned out, the corners didn't work out to be exactly the same, so we're just going to have to kind of make it up as we go. So jump over, I think I hate this yarn because it slows me down so much, because you have to be careful when you go through that you don't leave one string behind. It splits really badly. Sorry, Lion Brand, I love you. Don't forget that I love you. Once in a while, you know, you can't get it right all the time. Okay, so here I was telling you that the corner is going to be difficult. This one's easy because it's just like a nice open space there. But this corner is going to be harder because it's not a nice open space. It's the end of that, that grouping there. So we're going to have to get a little bit, we're just going to do it differently. So I'll do this one here to show you what this looks like, and then I'll go across off camera and do this, and then I'll come back and show you how to do that corner. And as I'm telling you that, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will figure it out as I go. Okay, so that was easy. We made the corner on that one. That was, if they were all like that, it would be great, but that's just not how the rows are set up, or how they could be really, even with granny stitch. So I'm going to continue on, and then I'll meet you over here. I'll show you how to do that corner. You'll watch me watch me figure it out in real time. Okay, so we're coming in towards the end of this corner. Also, I didn't really tell you how to do it here, but it's pretty, the ends are actually super easy because you can tell exactly where the groupings are. So we'll just do single crochet, and then 3 doubles together. Okay, so I think there was one that I actually tried to do it here on this corner, but I think what I ended up doing is just jumping over it and going straight into this hole. So let's see what happens. Every one of my little rags is probably different. Okay, so sorry about that. The phone rang and my daughter called, and then an hour and a half went by, and now I don't remember what I was doing. So I think we were just about to make this corner. And I think what I've decided to do is, instead of trying to go into the corner, I'm just going to jump over it and see how it looks. And then, you know, if we don't like it, we can always do something else, right? So if you want, you could kind of just make like a little chain there so that it kind of goes around the corner better instead of like gathering it there. See, I just make it up as I go. Okay, and then your 3 doubles together. Okay, and then pull it all together, and then a single. All right, and that's the corner compared to that corner, and they're going to be different just because of the way that the stitches lay out. And I promise you probably won't even notice it. Let me pull up one of these other ones, because I think I did the exact same thing on this one, and you can't really even, no one's even going to tell really. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish going all the way around, and then I'll show you the end result at the end, and we'll be done with this quick little project and on to the next one. Okay, I'm back. I have finished my little bubble stitch all the way around, and now I'm just going to join it. And to join it, you could just, I mean, you can do whatever you like, whatever your favorite join is. That's the actual loop right there. And I felt like if I joined it right there, it kind of took away the divot between the two. I mean, it's still there, but see how it's kind of continuous. So what I ended up doing was I just ended up coming over here and doing just like a slip stitch down here to kind of end it. And then I would join it into this top loop up here with a slip stitch. If if you can get it through all of those pieces that drive me crazy. Just like that. And then you're good to go. You can knot it if you want to, but you could just pull it all the way through. So that kind of gives it kind of a cleaner join that keeps that bubble look going on, so it doesn't just kind of, I don't know, make it disappear. Hopefully I'm not showing you stuff you already know, but if I am, bear with me, I'll be quick about it. I just went into these little stitches down here, and then I kind of go underneath here so that you can't really see it, and then maybe go under the next little grouping. You don't even have to go that far. When you're doing the back and forth stitch, or the back and forth finish, when you weave in your ends, it doesn't move. So you don't even have to go through like 5 stitches, but it's kind of nice to just, you know, carry it all the way through just for personal happiness. I could probably just end it right there, really. Same thing, so I just jumped over that extra little piece of yarn right there. That keeps it from pulling right back out, and then you can go as far as you want. There you go. So now with wear and use, you won't have little pieces poke up and stick out. You know how when you wash stuff and then you get little pokies come out after a while? I'm gonna do the same thing with this one, and then I'll show you what I'm doing next. Okay, there it is, all done. And because I had some leftover yarn, I went ahead and made a little washcloth to go with it, just like the other ones too. So super easy and fun project. I'm probably gonna take all of these and don't tell anybody, everyone's gonna know, right? But I'm probably gonna take these and make them into little Christmas gift baskets with some of my, like some favorite body wash or some soaps or something, and you know, just kind of dress it up, or like some of those cute little dishwashing soaps and stuff. There's some all natural stuff, and maybe when I'm in Tennessee I will find some local things and send them back home for people. So that is my game plan for that. Hopefully you learned everything you wanted to learn out of that. My next video, as I said earlier, I made a little poll on my group at Ginell's Quarantine Crochet, and you're welcome to join. I had 4 different projects that I was interested in. Here's a picture of it. And of course, I was super excited about the fall stuff, but I've been showing them these things as I've been doing them, and so they were already excited about these. So that's what they wanted first, was the mini granny stitch. And then the next thing we're gonna do is this. So I just added this cute little edging onto this tank top, because the reason I did it was because somewhere back in here, there's a little pokey thing that sticks. This is my favorite tank top. Like it just goes well with everything, and I just love it. I wear it all the time. But there's a little pokey little plastic thing or something in there that was sticking me in the back, and it was itching like crazy. And I couldn't find it to pull it out or get rid of it. So I'm like, what if I just edged it? So that's what I did with this, and we're gonna do something similar. I'm just gonna show you how to put edging, a crocheted edging. It's just like a edging, and then I did like a cute little chain stitch on top. I'm gonna do something a little fancier. We're gonna take one of my other favorite tank tops, also from Old Navy. No, it's not sponsored. Old Navy does not sponsor me, I'm not that big. But these are my favorite new tank tops because they're kind of square and they go over bra straps really well, so you don't have like the bra strap showing and stuff all the time. That's what I love about it. What I don't love about it is that it's cropped. So, and it's not cropped terribly, but like it could be, just for me, just like maybe that much longer, and that would make me happy. So I'm gonna add an edging to the bottom that has a little bit more lace to it, something a little bit fancier. And I'll show you how to do that on the next video. I actually have 2. I have a black one too. So if I like it on the orange one, I might add it to the black one, because as much as I love these, I don't wear them very often because, you know, I don't want my belly showing. So that is what's gonna be the next one. And then we might venture into, I have this cute little idea for this purse that I wanna do that's a sunflower, and another one that I wanna do that is for, I was gonna do a blanket, but I think instead of doing a blanket, I think I'll do like a pillow cover in a mosaic. And with the colors that I've chosen, I think I will do a pumpkin for the fall. So I'm excited for that. So go ahead and subscribe if that's something that interests you, and we will do those on the next videos. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. Color pooling has kind of been my obsession for, probably about a year now. It's just been going on. I have 3 or 4 videos on my YouTube channel at Ginell's Crochet Therapy. So if you're interested in that, go check that out and be sure to subscribe because I have probably more coming up. I'm kind of taking a break from color pooling so I can focus on some other things. But it'll always be my favorite. It's kind of my go-to thing to do. So hopefully you got a lot of enjoyment out of this video. You can also find me on Pinterest at Ginell's Crochet Therapy, and there's a bunch of subboards that you can look at there and some things for color pooling, but also other things as well. And then you can find me on Facebook. Our crochet group is called Ginell's Quarantine Crochet. It's the one that's different. And then you can also find my color pooling blog that has a list of all of the yarns that I have samples for that I know you can color pool with. And that is at JinellsCrochetTherapy.com. So you can find me everywhere. So thanks for watching. I'm looking forward to doing the next video for you very soon. Bye.